had all them guys out there talking to themselves. You know, they couldn't figure it out.
What size fields did they have for that series?
Well, the King of the Hill was a kind of a funny deal. See, Gary, he'd just sit back and wait for him. He wouldn't race in the regular show. See, that was how you got there. Yet he would get a big amount of money to show up, and then he would race the guy that whipped everybody else. Now, here's one way to look at that. Everybody else's stuff was already wore out by the time they got to him,
right,
but not necessarily so, you know. But God, he would beat them guys just week after week after week. He did it. I can't remember how many weeks it went. It was unbelievable. I mean, I remember one time they put it in National Dragster, ho hum, Cochran King of the Hill again. You know.
So the way the show actually ran, was it because he had won the previous time? I'm not really familiar with how it described how it worked.
When they first set the deal up, the guy that won the Top Fuel show, he was King of the Hill. The next week, he came out to the track, and he could make as many warm-up runs as he wanted. Gary never did. He never did it. Didn't need to. And then the winner of the Top Fuel show would race him for King of the Hill.
So he only had to make one run?
One run. Get his money and go home. That's what Gary was there for anyway. That's how he made his living, basically. You know, but like, not many people know this, but Schaefer gave Gary anything he wanted. You probably got a lot of clutch parts, didn't you?
In the garage. I do.
He got all the latest stuff, and he got free tires. Yeah, I know he was on the Goodyear deal. And camshafts, naturally. Now none of them guys get anything free.
What do you mean?
Everybody pays for tires. I mean, there may be a chosen few. The way it works out, if you win a race, you get, if you're like the guy that won Top Fuel at Topeka this week, he got a free set of tires. Or 2 free sets, whatever they set up for them. But everybody pays for everything anymore. Even oil. A lot of people pay for the oil they put in their race cars. You know, most of them do. Very few get free oil anymore.
We used to do that way.
God, I never bought a quart of oil or a camshaft in my life. And I was nobody. Never bought a camshaft or headers.
Yep.
Now you buy all that stuff. But see, you got all this money now, you know.
Yeah.
Them guys out there today, they're not having any fun. Matter of fact, at Indy in 1978, I was working on a safety safari. I worked for 3 years, I guess. I worked on a safety safari there, and I was sitting down at the end of the track, and picking up the clocks, I think, or doing something. And I was drinking some Gatorade, and Gibbs come by, and I'm sitting there asking myself, what am I doing this for? I'm tired of this. I've done it too long. And Gibbs come by and told him, I said, I think I'm going to quit. Nah, you ain't going to quit. And I said, yeah, I'm going to. And I did. And I didn't go near a drag race for I got married. Timmy was born in '79. And I didn't even go near a drag race. I just went to work, concentrating on making a living and doing what normal people do, and I just didn't go to drag race. I didn't even take National Dragster. I had a lifetime subscription to National Dragster, and they'd send you a deal about every 3 years. Do you continue wanting to receive? And I didn't even send it back 1 year. I get it now.
Yeah.
I got it again, but
yeah.
About 4 years ago, one day, don't ask me why, I called Gibbs up. I don't know why. He says, where have you been? He said, I haven't seen you. And I said, well, I ain't been to no drag race. I said, I went to one I said, I went to one in '85 at Tulsa, and I got in there. I drove up there, and I went into the back, and I went around and saw everybody, and I watched one round of qualifying, and I went home. I said, they're still doing the same thing. They're blowing up all their stuff, and they're all broke. And I said, this is crazy. So, but he said, well, I've been wanting to talk to you. I got something that's right up your alley. He said, we want to have a reunion deal somewhere. And I said, where? He said, well, I don't know. He said, probably Bakersfield. He said, we own that track now. And I said, you do? He said, yeah. And so he says, he says, why don't you come to the World Finals? I said, nah, I don't want to go down there. And he said, yeah, I want you to come down there. He said, I'll get you a room, and he said, I'll pay you for coming even. I said, well, all right. So I went down there, and we got to talking about it, and he said, what you need to do is locate everybody that you can find. I'm talking old timers. I said, well, my phone book, I can find them. He said, all right. He said, I want you to start talking to people and see how they feel about it. So I started in. Now, this was 18 months before the first one about. It wasn't the World Finals, the Winter Nationals. Because they never even announced it till the World Finals, which is a year before the first one.
Right.
And I started calling people and asking them what they thought, and almost every one of them said it was a neat deal. Well, a few like Benny Osborne, he said, nah, I wouldn't go to it if it's free. And
now, is that because of his opinion of NHRA, or because he just didn't want to get around the old folks again?
no, he don't have nothing against NHRA. I don't. At least I never heard him say anything against, derogatory against them. Some people do, have in the past.
Yeah.
But like Gary, for example.
Yeah.
Gary believes they should do more for the old timers, which in a way he's right, but a lot of people don't understand. It costs them a lot of money to run that organization,
Yeah.
You take that deal, that thing I was just at, they had like 400 people there that they paid all their expenses to come and work at that race. Well, that's an awful lot of money. I realize they took a lot of money in, but they spent an awful lot of money too. But there are a few people still upset with them. But, so, in the beginning it was just me and Steve. Nobody else was having it. Nobody else wanted nothing to do with it. And then along about the following Winter Nationals, which we had worked on it for a year then, Bernie Partridge and Phyllis, they decided it might be a neat deal, so they jumped in and declared themselves chairman or of the board or whatever, and they kind of took over then. And then Bob Daniels from Division 3, he's retired now, he got in on it. And then Dale Ham from Division 4, he's retired, he got in on it. And it turned political like everything else. They weren't even thinking about making any money on that first one. They were going to give all that money to their scholarship program. They ended up with so much money that they had already said what they were going to do. They had to go ahead and do it, but I don't think they wanted to do it.
What do you think is going to happen now? I mean, after this third one, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to move to another location?
I thought it was last year, or this year.
Yeah.
But Steve asked me, he says, what do you think about moving it to Indianapolis? I said, no. It would be a waste of time.
Why?
Well, Bakersfield is where it's at. I mean, I just believe, well, they had 13,000 people at the first one, right? I mean, I know what they had.
Yeah.
Because I had dinner with Wally and Barbara and Phyllis and Bernie and Steve and Gloria, and the night that after it was over, and they told us the truth. 13,000 people. And last year they had, I think, of 17,000. God knows what they'll have this year.
I hope. I really do.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You don't have to hope. That place will be plumb full this year.
I hope so.
They're,